You ever just stop and think about how weird it is that we're in charge? I mean, really think about it. The human body is, in so many ways, a mess. We're not the strongest, we're definitely not the fastest, and we've got zero natural armor. And yet, here we are, rulers of the planet. So what's the secret? What is it about this seemingly flawed species that allowed us to not just survive, but totally dominate? Yeah, this is the central mystery we're going to unpack. Our position at the top of the food chain is a huge puzzle. Because, on paper, we shouldn't have made it. To really drive home just how outmatched we are, let's take a look at an animal that's perfectly built for one of the toughest environments on Earth. So, meet the Saharan silver ant. This little guy hangs out where temperatures can hit 70 degrees Celsius. Its secret weapon? A built-in heat shield of super reflective silver hairs. But even with that, it can only last about 10 minutes out in the open. Now for the crazy part, its speed. It can move 108 times its own body length in a single second. To put that in perspective, that's like a 6-foot-tall person running at 450 miles per hour. And early humans? We had, well, none of that. No armor, no special endurance, and certainly no super speed. So what did we have? We made it because we had a totally different kind of survival kit. We didn't have claws or shells. We had a unique set of biological tools that, when you put them all together, made us absolutely unstoppable. And the number one tool in that kit, our primary weapon, is the 3-pound lump of wrinkly tissue sitting inside our skulls, the human brain. That is the ultimate game changer. So how do you even measure a brain's advantage? Well, scientists have this really cool metric called the encephalization quotient, or EQ for short. Basically, it's a score that compares an animal's actual brain size to the size you'd expect it to have based on its body weight. An EQ of 1 is just average. And this is where it gets kinda ridiculous. Look at this chart. Our closest relatives, like chimps, they have an EQ somewhere between 1 and 3. Pretty good. But humans, our EQ is a 7. A 7. Our brain is 7 times larger than it has any right to be for an animal our size. This is our unfair advantage. This massive processing power let us do things no other animal could even dream of. But a supercomputer is useless without a keyboard and a mouse, right? And that's the best way to think about it. If our brain is the command center dreaming up these brilliant plans, then our hands? They're the elite special forces sent out to execute those plans with incredible precision. The secret to our hands' amazing dexterity really comes down to one thing: the thumb. Seriously. Most primates had these short, kind of awkward thumbs. But the human thumb is long, it's flexible, and it lets us touch the tip of every other finger. That creates the pincer grip. It's the reason you can do something as delicate as threading a needle, an act that requires insane coordination between brain and hand. And here's the really wild part. Our hands and our tools pretty much evolved together. Archaeologists have found crude stone tools that are 3.3 million years old, which is actually before the human hand had fully evolved its precision grip. So it looks like the desire to make better tools is what actually drove our hands to evolve. It created this amazing feedback loop. Better hands could make better tools, and the need for better tools pushed our hands to become even better. Okay, but even the best hands in the world aren't much good if you're using them to walk on. And that's where the next piece of the puzzle comes in: standing up. Walking on 2 feet was a monumental leap. It freed up our hands to carry stuff, to care for our kids, and of course, to make and use all those game-changing tools. Plus, it gave us a better view over the tall grass and meant less of our body was getting baked by the sun. But the biggest advantage was one you might not expect. It was all about energy efficiency. It was like trading in a gas guzzler for a hybrid. A 2007 study found that when we walk, we use a whopping 75% less energy than chimpanzees do. That energy saving was absolutely crucial. It meant our ancestors could travel way farther to find food and water without just collapsing from exhaustion. But wait a second, this brings up another weird question, doesn't it? If standing upright meant we got less direct sun, why on earth do we lose all our fur? And if the goal was to ditch the hair, why do we keep a big patch of it on our heads? Turns out it was a brilliant 2-part cooling system. See, we didn't actually lose our hair follicles. Our body hair just got super fine and short. This lets sweat evaporate right off our skin, which is an incredibly efficient way to cool down. It's like having a personal, full-body air conditioner. but we kept the thick hair on our heads to protect our most valuable asset, that supercomputer brain, from overheating. And get this, studies have shown that while any hair is better than none, curly hair is literally the most effective at blocking the sun's radiation. So that's the toolkit that brought us to where we are today. But, and this is the important part, evolution never stops. The story isn't over. So let's look ahead and ask the big question. Where are we going from here? The world we're living in is changing faster than at any other point in history, and it's mostly because of us and our technology. So how are our bodies going to adapt to the very future that we are creating? Well, it looks like we could be headed down two very, very different paths. Path one is, well, it's a little dystopian. It's a future where our dependence on technology actually makes us weaker. Our bodies get frail, our senses get dull from staring at screens all day. In this future, even other animals have to adapt to us, like birds in cities learning to sing at a higher pitch just so they can be heard over all our noise. But there is another path, a more harmonious future where our technology lifts us up, where we get taller and stronger thanks to better medicine. We use genetic editing to wipe out diseases, and globalization continues to blend us all together. So if we go down that more harmonious path, what specific changes might we see? Well, some of them are pretty surprising. As the world's gene pool continues to mix, recessive traits like blue eyes or red hair could become incredibly rare. Our wisdom teeth? Yeah, they'll probably just disappear completely since our modern diet doesn't require them. And believe it or not, our brains might actually get a little smaller. The theory is that as our societies get more complex, we can outsource some of our thinking to the group, favoring a more energy-efficient brain over a massive one built for individual survival. All this talk about the future, about these different paths, it forces us to really step back and rethink how we view our entire story and the process of evolution itself. You know that classic image of evolution, the one with the monkey slowly standing up and turning into a human? We tend to think of it as a ladder, a straight line of progress, with us sitting proudly at the top. But that's just not how it works, at all. A better way to think of it is like a giant, chaotic, branching bush. Branches are sprouting out in all directions. Some of them thrive, and some of them just wither away. And here's the ultimate takeaway from all this. We are not the end goal of evolution. There is no such thing as a final form. There is only constant, messy, and frankly, fascinating adaptation to a world that never stops changing. We're just one successful branch on that bush, for now. And that leaves us with one last, pretty heavy thought. For the first time in the history of this planet, a species, us, is consciously shaping its own environment. And, because of that, our own evolutionary future. With our technology, our medicine, our choices, we're the ones steering the ship. We're influencing which branch grows next. So the question isn't just what happens next. The real question is, which branch will we choose?